It's episode 238
Holy shit.
of the Illustrious Gentleman Podcast. That's Scott.
Hello.
I'm Ryan. And it's a podcast where we get together, two comic book professionals get together, talk about comics, movies, TV, everything else. Today we're doing a show where we're together. That's not normal, so it's a little awkward. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Just being awkward, generally awkward?
Yes. Pantomime you.
Yeah. Normally we drink. Today, not both of us is drinking, and neither of us is drinking anything that matters, so we're not going to go ahead and skip that part. Get right to it. We got a hard out in about an hour. So yeah, go to tigshow.com for all your Tig Show needs. You can get shirts. You can get stickers.
Ooh. Put a sticker on a shirt.
Maybe coasters.
Maybe.
Possibly phone covers. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been over there. But yeah, go to tigshow.com. Click on the merch link. You can buy merch. You can listen to every podcast and watch every podcast at tigshow.com. Hop on over there. Before we get into it today, this is weird. This feels like I'm really putting on a show today.
It's very formal.
It's very formal. I don't know how I feel about that. But I do have a napkin full of notes about our friend Brian Augustyn, who just passed. He passed a couple days ago. Brian was 67 years young. That's what they say, right?
That is crazy.
At what point do you stop saying 60? How many years young as opposed to how many years old?
I don't know. 67's the new 57?
He was 67 years young. Brian, I think, has been in the Valley for over a decade. I actually went on Facebook today, and Brian and I became friends on Facebook in August of 2011. So over 12 or 10 years ago. But yeah, Brian passed the other day. It was unexpected. It hit me harder than I thought. I hadn't talked to Brian in a couple of years because of COVID. But yeah, it was weird. So we thought we'd take a couple minutes, talk about Brian. If you didn't know his work, I'm sure the listener knows his work, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, so among other things, he co-created and wrote Crimson and Out There with Humberto Ramos. Crimson was part of like the second wave of Cliffhanger, which I think it was the only book in the second wave of Cliffhanger, maybe. I can't think of any other Cliffhanger books except
I don't know.
Danger Girl.
I don't know. I would venture a guess, though, that most people are going to know him from Gotham by Gaslight.
Gotham by Gaslight, which he wrote. Mike Mignola drew. It's touted as the first Elseworlds book. So that's cool. It was made into a cartoon a couple years ago. Animated film, I think they called him. But I think he also, I guess his biggest legacy, besides Gotham by Gaslight, might be that he edited The Flash from 1989 to 1996. And then I was a co-writer from 96 to 2000 along with Mark Waid. So, yes, I mean, he a huge chunk of the 90s, essentially all of the 90s, he had his hand in the pot on The Flash. He co-created the second Iris West, who was a child of Wally West. He co-created Wally West. I always forget which Wally is your Wally.
I'm a big Wally guy.
Okay, so Wally is your guy.
The only Wally.
Not the Pixar movie?
He did not do that.
No. So I don't read Flash. Was Wally West just like was he like Kid Flash?
Yes, he was Kid Flash. He was Kid Flash to Barry Allen.
Okay.
It happened again.
Okay, so Flash up to that point, up until Wally's introduction, was Barry Allen.
Yes.
And then it became Wally West.
Yes.
Okay. All right, but then if you watch it on the CW, then Iris is Wally's mom.
Yeah, he was Flash
brother
post-Crisis, right? Because Barry dies in Crisis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, he introduced one of the most famous Flashes. I don't know. He also
beloved Flash.
Yes, I think he also might have co-wrote or at least edited Impulse. So he had a lot of He did a lot of Flash-related stuff in the 90s. One little thing I picked up was he actually has a pencil credit.
What?
In 1984's Who's Who update number 4. So DC, Marvel Universe has it just says Marvel Universe and it's all the characters. So you can read like Spider-Man's bio. DC has called it Who's Who. Right. So in Who's Who update 88, 88's the year. Number 4, he has a penciling credit. So listener can run out.
Penciling credit.
Listener,
Which issue is this? This is number
4 of the Who's Who's 88 update.
I'm going to track that down.
But yeah, he I mean, everyone who knew him loved him. I wrote on Twitter that he was grumpy, but I think people took that the wrong way. Like, he's grumpy the way I'm grumpy.
Yes.
So he's never really grumpy. He's just very quick to the point. He doesn't suffer bullshit. Very dry wit, I think, is a better way to explain that he was grumpy. But yeah, it was unexpected, and it was it hit me a lot harder than I thought. I was kind of in a funk all day, and it was hard to pinpoint why. But I think I realized it was that. You know, we weren't that close. Not like we talked outside of conventions or outside of appearances, but every time I saw him, he'd call me on my bullshit. You know, it was great. So it's sad that Brian's gone. So check out Brian Augustyn's work. Check out Gotham by Gaslight. Any of his Flash stuff. Crimson. Crimson was even a kind of cool take on vampires, like a superhero vampire.
Yeah, it's you know, I was a big Flash kid, so just listening to his credits and thinking back, it's yeah, it's a bummer thinking about it now, just because of realizing what an impact he had on my youth.
Did you ever talk to him about that?
No, I never did. I never did, and you know, obviously now,
that's right.
It's a regret you're never going to remedy.
That's right. Tell people what they mean to you, because you might not get the chance later. What was I going to talk about? I was going to segue into today's podcast, but I can't think of it right now. That's something to do. Oh, Twilight. I was going to say it's a much better vampire take than Twilight.
Yes.
Crimson.
I assume so.
Because you love Twilight.
But I love Twilight, so,
right, so
I don't know how big commitment I can make to that statement.
But a main actor from Twilight is going to show up in today's pod.
He's not in person. Show up.
Not in person.
He's right there.
Well, we can't pay
need you.
Yeah, and we can't pay his per diem or anything, so he refuses to be on camera. He refuses to be on iPad front-facing camera. But yeah, today we're going to skip all the shit and just get into it. Usually go over an hour.
Yeah.
We got an hour today.
No shit today.
No time to fuck around. This is episode 238, and it's all about Batman. As soon as it was a fun idea. It was a fun idea. That's right. What Batman?
What Batman?
It was a fun idea, I thought, when I brought it up. But then when I started making my notes, I was like, this sucks. So this is going to be a Scott episode, I think.
Oh, fuck.
But we're talking about on-screen Batmans.
Right.
And then I was like, well, let's rank our on-screen Batmans and our on-screen Catwomans and even our on-screen Jokers if you want. But I guess I have a question for you. Before that, we kind of talked about this earlier off camera. What do you want in a Batman movie? What are you looking for in your live-action Batman? And I'm specifically going to say a movie, because if I didn't watch Gotham, but if there's like a CW Batman show, I wouldn't want the same thing from that as I would want from a film.
Yeah.
So what do you want from your on-celluloid... I'm not talking about a movie.
Celluloid
I'm not talking about a movie. I'm talking about cinema.
What do you mean?
Your Batman film.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways, an on-screen Batman movie.
An on-screen Well... Okay, Batman it's the same thing you want from any Batman. You just want something different, or not something different, but at least something that didn't immediately come before, right? So
right.
On the tail of Nolan's Batmans, you don't want another Batman,
but that's
hyper realistic.
But I guess we could talk about it when it gets to that.
It's like hiring your next football coach,
right? But isn't that what we're getting? Isn't the Matt Reeves Batman just a playoff?
No, I don't think it is.
You don't think it is?
I do not think it is.
All right.
I think based on...
I think tonally they're very similar.
No, I think tonally based on what I've seen in the trailer and especially the aesthetic, it's more of a fantastical sort of uber stylized.
Oh, I think it's even more grounded than a Nolan movie.
No.
In a good way.
No.
I don't like being shorter.
The biggest problem I have with the Nolan stuff is that it's too contemporary. it feels like a Batman I would read about in the New York Times or something.
Oh, it's like a Batman of current.
It's too grounded.
Yeah,
it's too grounded in what I know.
Like Bruce Wayne would be into crypto mining.
There is not enough suspension of disbelief.
Okay. Yeah, so I put on the other night in an effort to try to wrap my head around ranking these actors, who I quickly realized today it was pointless. I put on Dark Knight Rises because I wanted to revisit.
That's my favorite one.
Miss Hathaway's Catwoman.
Sure.
And I was pleasantly reminded of just how good a movie it is, how well it's made. Whether it's a Batman movie or not, it's just a well-made kind of action movie. If that makes sense. Like didn't have to be a Batman movie. You could easily replace certain features of that movie, and it's just a good movie.
I think it feels like the rest of Nolan's movies more than any of the other Batman movies.
Yes, it feels like
it's high concept wrapped in a bunch of action.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio could go by on skis at one point, and you'd be like, "Yeah, this is just another. It's a dream within a dream. Yeah. This is a level of Inception." Yeah. But I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it, and now I want to go back and watch. Because I recently rewatched Batman Begins. I don't need to go back to that. But I always thought The Dark Knight was overrated, and maybe The Dark Knight Rises was underrated.
I think that is a fact.
Yeah.
Or at least my opinion.
Sure.
Which is very close to fact.
Yeah, one thing I didn't like about Dark Knight Rises is I don't think it accurately shows the passage of time. Like in a Harry Potter movie, right? Like Hedwig will start flying and it'll be fall. And then Hedwig will land and it'll be snowing.
It's very ambiguous.
Yes, it's like, oh, months have passed when these cops are trapped in this fucking...
Yeah.
But you think 2 minutes have passed. Like, why are they already getting food set down?
How long did it take him to get out of the pit?
Yeah.
He grew a beard.
Yeah, but you can do that in like a day.
An afternoon.
You shaved this morning. Yeah. But
if I think hard enough.
Yeah, but it was like, oh, the cops are trapped. And then like 30 seconds later in the montage, food is getting put down to them. And I'm like, they just had lunch. like before they went into that tunnel, I'm sure they all ate. But then I realized now months are supposed to have passed. And then according to Wikipedia...
That was one of the scenes, right?
According to Wikipedia...
Before they went down.
They all had lunch.
Did everybody eat?
At a nice deli. But yeah, on the Wikipedia, it says 5 months passed.
Wow.
So there's no harm. Don't feel like you're a worse filmmaker if you just put 5 months later on the screen. We're all happy for that.
I don't need it, though. It didn't take me out of the movie.
But you didn't know it was 5 months till I just told you.
I didn't know, but I didn't need it.
Yeah, well. Okay, so I already forgot what you said, what you want from a Batman movie.
I just want it to be not what we just had.
Okay, so I want an action movie, obviously, but I want it to be somewhat grounded, like not as many gadgets as like the Tim Burton Batman or even the Nolan Batman. He had a lot of gadgets, fucking cyber shit going on, just shit like bouncing signals.
Oh, yeah.
I want it more grounded than that, but I also don't want it to be like, and I also want it lower stakes. Like Gotham is in danger, or this one thing is in danger. It doesn't need to be a Superman movie where the world is in danger, or like it can be a ground level.
Gotham was in danger in all of the Nolan movies.
Well, Gotham's a dangerous place to live.
Why does anybody live there?
I don't know. I bet your rent is cheap as fuck in Gotham. It's like Detroit.
I bet it's not.
You don't think so?
No.
Gotham is Detroit. I could buy a city block right now.
With New York prices, though.
So you're saying I couldn't open my dream haberdashery / flower shop
not in
Gotham.
No.
But in Detroit, I could buy a whole building.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I want. And I think that's what the Batman is going to give us. Ground level, street level, violence. Gotham's, we've seen the trailer. More shit blows up in Gotham. I mean, shit's always blowing. Like, if you live in Gotham, I would just build my house out of, like, balsa wood. Right? like craft wood, because you know it's going to get blown up within a decade.
Right.
It's like living like in Louisiana.
Those premiums are through the roof.
Yeah, if you live on the coast, if you live on the Gulf Coast and Gulf of Mexico, you should be building your house out of fucking styrofoam. And I feel like the same thing applies to Gothamites. I am excited about the new movie, but I do think it's going to be very tonally similar to the Nolan movies. My life sucks so bad because I'm a billionaire, man.
I don't think so.
The new Chemical Romance album sucked.
I'm going to optimistically disagree with you.
Christian Bale was a bummer, and I'm worried that Robert Pattinson's going to be a bummer. I don't need my Bruce Wayne to be the socialite on one hand.
Okay, what do you want Bruce Wayne to be?
Well, I don't like the fake playboy. That's just dumb. I don't like that.
Okay.
But you're a billionaire who, as part of your night job, gets to fuck people up. Life isn't terrible. Like, you get your cake and you get to eat it too. You can buy whatever the fuck you want and you get to put on a costume and beat people up. That seems like a pretty great life to me. So I want him to enjoy being Batman and enjoy being Bruce Wayne. But don't be a douchebag Bruce Wayne. I don't know what I want.
I don't know.
I don't want him to be Tony Stark.
Okay.
But I don't want him to mope around his house either.
What if he just slept all day?
That's good because he's tired. Because that's what he did last night. He fucked a bunch of people up, so he's tired.
Right.
Yeah, I want him to get up and soak his knuckles in an ice bath. But then, like, good ice. Like, he's soaking his knuckles in, like, imported Finlandian ice. That's the Batman I want. And then I want, like, some blind prostitute to rub oils on him so he gets, heal his muscles.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But she has to be blind. So
right.
She don't put two and two together. Yeah. Although, maybe she would know better. Because the smell would be the same.
Or she put 3 and 3 together.
You smell just like Batman.
Yeah. What's up with that?
He's like, what? And then he has a murderer. Yeah, I want a guy, and I think I'm stealing this maybe from one of you, a thought you made that I agree with, is I want a guy who likes being Batman.
Right.
He likes doing what he does.
Isn't that the deal, though? Like, traditionally, that's...
the Christian Bale Batman didn't like being Batman.
Cliche is that the mask that Batman wears is Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm. The Christian Bale was just a fucking bummer all the time. He didn't want to be Batman. He didn't want to be Bruce Wayne.
He was doing the thing that needed to be done in his eyes.
Yeah, I want a Batman who does the things that he thinks should be done, but I want him to. It shouldn't be a bummer to do it.
Like, is it a thing that needs to be done?
I don't know. I don't live in Gotham.
Yeah, probably not. Right.
Yeah. But I want a dude who like. So, like, when I finally was going through my first, I'd say, like, there's going to be a second. When I was going through the end of my first marriage, and I finally was like, I'm going out tonight because it's not my responsibility to go home and do all this stuff for my kids. I would leave work, and I'd be just like, I can't wait to deposit my check, go to the bar, hang out with my friends, and have a fun night. Like, I was pumped, almost to the point of, like, getting the shakes. I'm so excited for what tonight has to offer. I want Batman to do that every night. He slides down his bat pole or whatever it is,
and
he's like, "I'm going to go out and do what I meant to do, what I want to do, what every fiber of my being wants to do."
And as many people shit on All-Star Batman, isn't that what Frank Miller's take was? Didn't he? One of the lines was, "I'm the goddamn Batman." Isn't he? He's just the dude that enjoyed dressing up and punching people.
I never read it, but I assume so.
Yeah.
I don't like a Batman where it's a burden. Because if you're a billionaire and your whole life is a burden, just quit being Batman and go be a billionaire in Ibiza. Like, you could go anywhere in the world and pay for whatever you want. You don't have to be in Gotham suiting up every night.
Yeah. So, maybe a Batman that, like, uses all of his resources to fake his own death as Bruce Wayne, and then he's just Batman the whole time. Yeah, and then just like set up a trust, and then just the trust goes to you. Or even that, just put enough money aside in a Swiss bank account, stop being Bruce Wayne, and just be Batman. Put it all in cash. Keep it under your
bat pillow.
Yeah, your king size mattress.
Yeah, I like that. Like, why even have I understand the need of it for storytelling purposes, but if it was real life and you only want to be Batman because you only want to fuck shit up, Bruce Wayne is an unnecessary. Doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, he's an unnecessary complication.
Yes. But yes, that's what I want. We were talking earlier today about the terrible. I'm going to say terrible. I've seen 2 episodes of Reacher. Apologies to my brother, who probably loves the show by the time this comes out. But he's just punching people through things. He's hitting them so hard, and I'm like, that's what I want my Batman to do. It's just no restraint. I get it. That we also talked earlier today. There's a lot of earlier today talk that happened. Batman shouldn't kill. I get that. I have no problem with Batman snapping some fucking limbs, though, and breaking some noses. Making people wish they never ran into the Batman.
Yeah, and okay, so are you on board then with Robat Battenbat with when he says "I am vengeance"?
I'm excited about it.
With it's not just a signal; it's a warning.
I dig it, and I like in the trailer because I watched it a couple times this morning when the new Catwoman said, "Okay, Vengeance, let's go out and start some trouble, or let's go out and get in trouble, or something like that." I like that because she's basically dissing him, she's negging him. Like, you said something dumb, and I'm going to say it back to you now, but we're going to bone later, possibly, maybe. Yeah, I'm excited about the new movie, but I try not to get excited about superhero movies because they're all going to be a fucking bummer. His hair's a bummer. Again, if your whole life is dedicated to vengeance, buzz cut. Because every time he puts on his cowl, he's got to slick his hair back. It's going to get hot under there, too much sweat. If he was serious about being only Batman, he'd have a shaved head.
But it looks so good.
Oh my God. You didn't grow up in the 90s. It's not a good look.
I'm here now, and I will tell you, it's doing it.
Okay. So, we're both kind of pumped for the Batman movie. I don't think we're going to be able to see it together because one or both of our wives might want to see it, so we probably can't sneak out and see it. I see you 2 weeks in a row. That might break our social contract.
No, we should do it.
Okay. I got nothing going on next Friday. My work schedule is your work schedule. If you don't give me any pages, I got nothing going on next Friday.
Well, it's like I have an objective.
So we're both looking forward to it. Matt Reeves, he's done some Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Matt Reeves. I don't care.
The car's rad as fuck.
Yeah, it fucking is.
The Joker's dumb as fuck.
I feel like
not the Joker,
high school
the Riddler.
Girl whose boyfriend has the cool car. It's like, ooh, yeah.
So
I want to go for a ride.
I'm sold. The car looks cool. The suit looks cool. Colin Farrell and all that makeup looks cool. But the Riddler looks like an idiot. And
Wouldn't it have been neat to see Colin Farrell's Penguin fight Ben Affleck's Batman?
Because they're both old and fat?
No, because they're both in Daredevil.
Oh. I don't know if neat's the word I would use.
Neat.
I don't like the way the Riddler looks in the new one in the trailers.
Oh, I'm all about Zodiac Riddler.
And I don't. When Catwoman has a mask on, it's just a cut up ski mask, which I don't dig either. It's going to come into play later.
It'll work.
It comes into play later, but the more you look like Darwin Cook's version of Catwoman, the better the Catwoman.
Okay.
All right, so let's get into it then, unless you have other thoughts.
No, we're not. This is not an episode about Matt Reeves' Superman. Christopher Reeves Superman?
What?
Matt Reeves Batman.
Well, no.
This is not an episode about that.
Because we haven't seen that.
No, we're ranking our on-screen Batmans.
So I have to cross out.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we didn't really correspond. Normally, I would put rules in place that you would ignore. I didn't do anything.
I would shit on.
I personally did not go with any animated versions.
My notes.
I did not go with any animated versions.
I did.
And my other note is I quickly realized I don't really care about this. But I also quickly realized none of these portrayals of any of these characters are heads and tails above any other ones. None of them do anything for me.
Okay.
You know, like people are like, oh, so and so is the perfect version of this character.
Mm-hmm.
I could give a fuck who plays these characters.
No.
It's more about how they're written and how the movie's made.
I'm not about perfect visions. I think there are some that stand above others in execution of concept.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's start then. If we're going to do three, right? You did Joker, Catwoman, Batman?
No.
What'd you do?
I just did Batman.
Oh, fuck. Spent the whole morning.
I can do the rest right now.
All right, well, let's go in reverse order of who I think matters. We'll start with our Jokers.
Okay.
First of all, question. I wrote it down. What do you want to see in an actor who plays a Joker? What do you want to see out of an on-screen Joker? And again, I don't give a fuck about Batman. I don't give a shit about comic book Joker. I just don't give a fuck about Joker.
Okay. Joker. What do I want to see in my Joker?
Yes. In your on-screen, big screen Joker. Your IMAX Joker.
In any villain, you want it to be menacing, right? You want to feel like the villain's an actual threat.
Right.
But with the Joker, how much do you want him to be charming and likable's not the right word.
Agreeable? Like you can see their point of view?
No, not even that. Just compelling. A compelling watch.
Okay, you don't think it needs to be relatable though?
No, I don't give a fuck.
See, I think what they did with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker was try to make him relatable to people. He's angry. He's shunned.
I don't need that from my Joker.
No. So yeah, I'll go in my order because I'm the same thing. I really don't give a shit. I just want him to be Batman's equal, and I think that's hard to come by when Batman is Batman and Joker is just whatever Joker is. I guess my favorite version of Joker, if I did include an animated version, would be Mark Hamill. Would be the Batman the Animated Series Joker. But in my order, and then we can discuss this. It's from worst to first is Nicholson, Joaquin Phoenix, and Ledger. Heath Ledger. Because I thought Joaquin Phoenix was too fucking depressing and too. They tried to make him too like you're supposed to relate to him too much. I don't need to have feelings about why my Joker's a psychopath. Nicholson is just a clown, which I guess is what the Joker is. Right. So I guess Ledger merged the two. He's unhinged, but he's also into theatrics.
Yeah, yes, he's probably my favorite Joker, just because, like I said, I want him to be compelling. I want him to be entertaining at the least. And for the Joker, I don't need relatability as much as I need unpredictability, in the sense that I think the less you relate to the Joker, the better as a character, because then you do get that unpredictability. You need the sense that you don't know what's going on with him from 1 minute to the next. Because again, it's the stupid cliche. He's the chaos to Batman's order.
Right.
To the fascist Batman, he's the anarchist.
Yeah, and maybe the reason the Joaquin Joker, I mean, it's a really good movie, but I mean, I've been a kid who's felt out of place and felt picked on and felt like I don't belong. And so maybe it was just, I don't need that. I don't need to celebrate a guy who probably needs help and didn't get it. And then like, why are we celebrating that movie? Like it's a fucking bummer.
It's never
a good movie,
a question I've needed an answer to. I feel like he is one of those characters like Wolverine. The less you know, the more effective he is as a plot device.
Right.
Or the more intriguing he is as a character. Yeah, I don't need to know. I don't need to know that he came from a sad background. Right? I don't care. In the story, getting everything I need to know to understand his role in the narrative, that's all I need. I don't need anything else.
So if we're doing our definitive, and it is definitive because
this is it.
This is our show. It doesn't get more definitive than The Illustrious Gentleman episode 238. I went Nicholson, Phoenix, Ledger. Where do you go? I mean, you already said Ledger, so where do you go between the Jack Nicholson and the Joaquin Phoenix?
Oh man, it's hard to argue with anything that comes out of BTAS.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're ranking that, then I guess he'd be my number one.
Sure, and I guess, oh man, yeah, Nicholson 3, Phoenix 2, Ledger 1.
With Hamill a 1 with an accent mark.
Oh, okay, Hamill, right. Hamill 2.
So you put Ledger ahead of Hamill.
Yes, just because I found the performance and the way the character was written, the context of that film so compelling.
All right. I agree. Okay, so next up, Catwoman. I did not rank Halle Berry.
Oh, boy.
I never saw the movie, so it'd be unfair to Miss Berry.
That's up there.
Have you seen it?
That is in...
Don't say it.
The rarefied air.
Don't fucking say it.
That's in Twilight category.
Fucking bitch.
It's, oh my God, you have to see this movie.
I don't think I have to.
Oh, man. No, it's a treat. It really is.
Okay, well,
I'm glad it exists.
I can't rate her because I didn't watch her.
And it's in name only is it a Catwoman thing. So I think it's fair to not
it's not
include
Selena
it in
Kyle.
this list. Yes.
Yes, okay. And I didn't include the animated version because I'm an asshole. I don't know who did the voice of the animated version.
Ooh.
Great, though.
Great.
Yeah. So I went with the 3 that have been in the proper Batman movies. Okay, what do you want in your on-screen? I wrote Catwoman. Oh, yeah, Catwoman, not Batwoman. What do you want in your on-screen?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's the same thing I want out of any piece of entertainment, which is to be compelling. Boring is the worst thing you can be. Bad or good, it can fall on either side. I just want it to be watchable.
We do.
And I want to continue watching whatever it is that I'm watching. So I don't, bad or good, you can throw it out the window. It doesn't need to be either of those things. I prefer it be good. Just don't be boring. Make me want to continue on.
2 guys who have done 238 episodes of a podcast, that could be boring.
No, could be.
Could be. Okay, so I want someone who's Batman's equal. If you're going to play her as Batman's equal, she should be able to hold up to Batman. Not Bruce Wayne. That's part of the problem with Catwoman always is they should be separate. I realize in recent years that they've become together and all that stuff. But in my mind, I always liked the Spider-Man Black Cat relationship because they were equals and they
don't know anything about it.
So anyways, my number 3 is Michelle Pfeiffer. Just because I thought it was played too wacky. A lot of that Tim Burton shit is over the top, too wacky. I watched the clip this morning. Cats brought her back to life, kind of, or at least woke her up, and then the cats caused a psychotic break. And then in like a whole montage that lasted like 4 minutes, she went from a normal person, well, not a normal person, a person waking up being licked by cats. But they weren't waking her up. They were trying to eat her. If you watch the clip,
yes.
They were trying to eat her.
Yeah.
And then she immediately like goes to her house and then starts breaking shit and then makes her costume. So from the time they wake her up after she falls out the window to the time she's in a leather costume is like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have watched an edited version. Maybe they cut scenes out. I don't know.
Probably not. I think I remember that the way.
She's just too much.
Too much?
She's too over the top. Catwoman should not be a person with a psychotic break the way the Joker is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I've never...
What else would possess somebody to dress up in black leather and run around on rooftops at night?
Cat burglar. That's part of the problem. Is they made Michelle Pfeiffer was just like
a cat burglar, like the Selena Kyle the animated series.
Yeah, like every other version of Selena Kyle except for the Michelle Pfeiffer version.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. I quite like her. I'm going to disagree.
Well, there's only 2 other options.
What are the other options? Animated series? And...
Well, because we're not doing the new movies.
Right.
I already put Zoe Kravitz ahead of Michelle Pfeiffer. I can't judge that. And I put only number 2 because I haven't seen the movie yet. But I think her version might be the best. Give me a confident woman.
She does look like she stepped right off of a Clayman page.
Yes. I mean, there's a scene where she's... I mean, this might have sold... This, look, I don't want to Me Too anybody, much less myself. But there's a scene of her walking around in a tank top, and that's all it takes. I mean, Alien set my sexual DNA at age of like 8 or 9 or whatever. And she's wearing a red wig and a tank top in one of the trailers. But also, I want to go ahead and assume that she's going to be my favorite, just because movies continually get better. Writing continually gets better. It's snowballing effect of good art, good writing, good cinematography, good everything. So she's going to be well written. It's in a time where female roles are better written than they've ever been. So she's going to be well done. They're not going to mail it in.
I have confidence in that.
I have confidence in that. But I guess that doesn't count because we're not doing that. So anyways, I put Anne Hathaway first because I have seen that role. And I do like that she had a great costume. Her costume was essentially Darwin Cook, kind of modified costume.
Yeah.
Solid acting. She didn't have to do much, but she did the best she could with it. And I like that she moved with grace. Like she moved like a dancer in that movie, and I like that. Like Catwoman should be graceful like a cat. But you don't need to drive home the fact that that's one thing I don't like about the trailer. He looks down, he's like, you got a lot of cats. God damn it, we can see that, man. Fuck. That's like anyone watching this being like, man, he's red-faced and sweaty. Yeah, we all know, man. We don't need to bring it up.
This is like talking about the joke for 30 seconds.
Yeah. So my Catwomen's, I guess technically, I haven't seen Halle Berry, I haven't seen Zoe Kravitz. So for me, there's two. It's going to be Michelle Pfeiffer and Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
And I was pumped when Anne Hathaway was in that movie.
Man,
I was an Anne Hathaway. I don't know if you call them Hatha fanatics or Hatha fans, but I'm a Hatha fan. I'm an Anne person.
I like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. I don't know how much of that is her and how much of that is the script.
Right, but they're the same thing.
They're not the same.
They're one in the same.
No, I think if it weren't Michelle Pfeiffer, the role in Batman Returns would have been lesser.
Okay, so you think Michelle Pfeiffer elevated the role, and maybe Anne Hathaway just played the role?
But I mean, then the question becomes, well, who would you cast instead?
Right.
I don't know. I do like that. Even though, or maybe because it was a more sort of a limited or a handicapped Batman in the story.
In Dark Knight Rises.
Right. That she was his equal.
Oh, you're saying she couldn't have been his equal if he was at full strength?
Just because of, maybe just because of the resources.
Right.
Man, I don't know. But I also like the animated series one. That was my first Catwoman.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, when I talk about how Ellen Ripley formed my sexual...
And they're all very different.
She formed my sexual identity. I think Eartha Kitt as Catwoman in the Batman 66 might have done a little something for me, too.
I'm not familiar with 66 Batman, so I can't fairly include them. Any of those, the members of that show. All
right, well, we need a definitive list. It is episode 238, so it's Michelle Pfeiffer and Hathaway. Or Halle Berry.
I'll take Michelle Pfeiffer as my one. Because, I want from any of my entertainment, I just want it to be compelling, and I think Michelle Pfeiffer is the better watch.
It's just it's like an improv show when she's on screen. She's going ham. I think that's what the kids call it, ham.
And it works.
All right. We agree to disagree. A to D. Change the name of the podcast. All right, so now on to the Batsman. I had my list, and then you showed up today before we went to lunch, and I had forgotten literally my favorite Batman. I forgot my favorite Batman on screen until you mentioned him.
Really?
Yeah, so that's how tuned into this I am. I have a note. I never particularly liked any of the on-screen Batman. They're all fine, but none blow me away. But again, question of the day: what do you want in your on-screen Batman? Not the Batman movie. Your version of Batman. For me, it's easy. I don't give a fuck about Bruce Wayne.
Okay, not the actor.
like how it's portrayed.
Right. The execution of
Yes. The character.
the character.
And
What do I
character
want
to me
from my
is
Batman?
Batman. Bruce Wayne is nothing. I don't give a fuck about Bruce Wayne. Never have, never will.
Agreed.
If I read a 12-issue arc of the comic and Bruce Wayne never showed up,
I'm going to refer
I wouldn't know.
to conversations that we had off air. I just want Batman can be so many different things. I think he's entertaining in so many different not circumstances, but
Situations.
there are so many different iterations and executions of Batman as a character that work. I like to think of like the Ninja Turtles as the most adaptable sort of action property because they can do anything. You can do the Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles where they're fighting like gangsters and ninjas on the street, or you can send them to another dimension and they're fighting aliens and shit, and all works because they're mutant fucking turtles.
Yeah, Batman's malleable. He can do anything.
Yes. Yes. He can fly to Pluto to activate robot Justice Leaguers, or he can, crash a dinner for the Falcone crime family to intimidate them. He can do all of these things. It's all the same Batman.
Yeah.
They all exist within the same universe.
It's funny that you this more than once today you brought up the Batman flying.
It's so
Pluto,
funny.
and I shake my head. But you and I are currently working on a comic book where he is in the 31st century.
Yes.
Yeah, but as we work on that book, I keep telling you, I hope he gets back to Gotham soon.
I think he works as both a compliment to the situation and an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, he can complement any situation or take command. What I like in Batman is when he takes charge. Like there's a page in issue 2 of Justice League, which will be out, Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes, be out next month, where he basically starts giving orders to the Legionnaires.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's Batman.
Yeah.
Batman is going to take charge of any situation he's in.
There's that bit in Infinity War when Thanos is fighting Iron Man, and Thanos calls him Stark, and he says, "Yeah, I've heard of you." I always think of that. That's what Batman would be. When Darkseid shows up, he's like, "Oh yeah, Superman's a pain in the ass, but this Bruce Wayne guy, yeah, I know who he is. He's the only human I know.
He's the one you got to walk down for." Yeah, I always liked that. I think it was in this is where I'm going to be ignorant. I think it's in the comics, but I think it was also in Justice League Unlimited, where it's like Batman has spent time researching how to defeat every leaguer.
Yeah, there was a
he is the guy that he's the guy you have to worry about.
Yeah, I think what was it? There was an arc of Wade's Justice League. I think it was Tower of Babel,
where they got pissed.
Where Ra's al Ghul got a hold of Batman's files on how to defeat all the leaguers.
Yeah. I always liked that about Batman. He's like, look, man, we might have foursomes, Clark. Yeah. We might swap dates every now and then.
Yeah, he says it all the time. I don't trust anybody.
Right. Yeah, Kryptonite bullet. All right, so there's a lot of these guys to choose from. We can just knock Clooney and Kilmer right off the list. Like, we don't have to talk about them.
I have them listed.
I mean, I have them listed too, but they're
at the bottom.
They're at the bottom.
Yes.
Right.
Which one do you have at the very bottom?
Clooney.
Yes.
Although I do think Clooney is... I like George Clooney as an actor and even as a director. I've never seen someone mail something in as much as he did when he was in that Batman movie. Like, I thought he would have more...
These are the ER years of Clooney, right?
Yes, he hadn't been in like Three Kings or directed it. Yeah, he just did what they told him to do, and he cashed a check.
He's very much George Clooney.
So I don't know how many of them I have, but he's last.
Okay, Val Kilmer.
Kilmer's second to last.
Yes, agreed.
In that documentary, Val, that I talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast, he talked about filming Batman Forever as the worst experience because he couldn't turn his head and he couldn't hear. They didn't put holes in the cowl, so he basically acted against lip reading. And so then they would call cut, and if you couldn't see the director, He would only
Just
know.
keep going.
He would only know it was cut because other people would just walk off their marks or whatever. Like he just talked about it being like a miserable experience. And here's where I'm really gonna cause problems in this whole podcast. Maybe our relationship. Third from bottom to me is Michael Keaton, young Michael Keaton.
Mr. Mom?
That's the problem.
What do you mean that's the problem?
I'm older than you. When he was cast, he was Mr. Mom. When he was cast, he was the dude in Gung Ho, the comedy about let's send an America to Korea or whatever the fuck it is to make cars. He's not Bruce Wayne, and he never shook that. He doesn't. It's not like he bulked. Like if he got cast nowadays, let's say an actor, a comedian now, Chris Pratt, bulked up, became Star-Lord. Dude, fucking Michael Keaton didn't get on a treadmill before he became Bruce Wayne. Like, but I did put an asterisk here, and I said young Michael Keaton, because I think as much as the new Flash movie is going to suck dick, I can't wait to see old Michael Keaton play Bruce Wayne / Batman. I have a fetish for old Batman. I get that, but I think he's grown into the role now.
Like Michelle Pfeiffer, I think he is a very interesting and watchable Batman. I really like his Bruce Wayne.
It's a clown, but I guess that's what it's supposed to be.
No, but when I think of Keaton Batman, the scene that plays over and over in my head is the bit in Vicky Vale's apartment with him and the Joker.
Vicky Vale?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Just
sure.
Unhinged.
But it's not really unhinged. It's unhinged to draw attention to save Vicky Vale. He's getting crazy to get all the attention on him. That's not how he played Batman the rest of the two movies. If he had, then maybe I would have got into that more.
And it's him as a performer. It could have been somebody else in that role, and I might have placed it lower than I have. But I again, I'm going to sound like a broken goddamn fucking record. I think he is a compelling watch. I will watch Michael Keaton in anything.
Have you seen Gung Ho?
No, I haven't.
Okay, check it out.
I will watch that though.
Yes.
And enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a lot of stereotypical jokes.
I bet.
Yeah.
I won't enjoy it for that. Just to be clear,
the racial injustice of it all. Yeah, it was weird casting at the time, and I mean, fuck, man, it should have been right up my alley. I was 12, 13. I should have been right on board with that shit, and I still thought it was silly. And I'm losing all nerd cred because everyone my age who's into comics loves those movies. I love the dude who says like, "Oh, the second one was even better." You know, it's like they're all every movie's Empire Strikes Back when you're 40.
It's him though. He may not be different from George Clooney or like a Ben Affleck or Leonardo DiCaprio, where you watch them in a movie and you're aware that it's them. They're not particularly good actors,
right? But
they're absolutely charismatic, and you will watch them do what they're doing.
I've never thought in any of those movies that this is Batman. This guy could be Batman.
All right. I don't know what to tell you. That's on you. He's much higher on my list.
Okay, well, who do you have after the Clooney-Kilmer?
Well, I only ranked 8 of them.
Oh, my God. I only ranked like 5.
Okay.
All right. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 total, and one of them we're not supposed to talk about because the movie's not out yet, so I guess I have 5.
Including them, I have 9.
Okay.
If I can count. I have Ben Affleck in your Michael Keaton space.
You are fucking crazy. Well, I guess it comes down to this. My ideal Batman is Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Okay.
58-year-old, 55-year-old, built like a brick, like a fucking Mack truck. Just like shit kicker. That's the Batman. Like if someone comes up to me at a con, and like you draw.
They ask you for Batman, whichever Batman you want to do.
I draw a Batman who looks like a fucking tank, right?
Okay.
Your Batman that you draw, whenever you draw him for DC.
It looks like Mr. Mom.
Yes. looks like the guy from Gung Ho.
Right.
Yeah,
Multiplicity Batman.
that's right. Maybe if we're lucky, maybe a Birdman Batman. But yeah, so I like big, hulking, old, just tireder than shit Batman. But again, if you wanna, the only Bruce Wayne I've ever really identified with is the Batfleck Bruce Wayne.
Why
He's
is that?
tired. He's old. He's sick of everything. I live in that, man. That is just, I feel it so much. I don't want to give anything away to listener, but I mean, fuck, man. I don't know how you have 6 names higher than this.
He didn't do anything for me, and he's in this. I'm going to make the same argument that I made for Michael Keaton. I will make it against Ben Affleck. I don't enjoy him as a performer.
Okay, I do. Especially as he gets older, I think he does interesting roles. He's great in The Last Duel. He's great in what did I talk about last week? Tender Bar.
Yeah.
But
he's great in those DraftKings commercials or whatever.
Fuck off. Now that you mention it, though, I honestly don't know. I don't like these movies. I think I like the idea of Ben Affleck being Batman more than the actuality of Ben Affleck being Batman. Because I think it is perfect casting for a Dark Knight Returns Batman. I mean, if you can't get someone who's even older. But I like this. But also, I think there's some nerd cred, I think. People give Ben Affleck a rough, like, a bullshit thing. But in the 90s, I mean, he was in fucking Chasing Amy. Like, he's got nerd cred with me. And I think he gets a short, what do they call it, the short shrift? Shrift, not shift.
Not shift.
Because when
short shift is great.
When I'm driving fast in my fucking base model Kia Rio, I short shift. Double collection. But it's interesting because I think I like him so much because I like the idea of him being, because he's never had a good movie.
That's fair.
He's never been offered a good movie to be the best he could be.
This is correct.
So he gets punished for that. I think he could be the best, so that's why I rank him higher.
I think he's got, to me personally, he has the same problem that George Clooney has. Where
too handsome?
No, he's George Clooney. I'm watching George Clooney. So I'm watching Ben Affleck. I think he has incredibly limited range as an actor.
Okay. You have more names than
A
me.
to D.
So who's next for you?
That would be 5th on my list, which is Adam West.
Yeah,
Middle of the pack.
I don't think I did. I think I ranked him right before Young Keaton. I have a little note here. It says West.
Do we need to talk about this?
No. He was our first introduction to an on-screen Batman. He's fine.
To a lot of people.
He's fine.
Sure.
I don't give a fuck about that Batman.
Yeah. It's fine.
Take your green and blue, and unless you're Dan Mora and you're drawing them, take your gray and blue Batman and shove them up your ass.
He succeeded in executing the role that he was given. Adam West understood the assignment.
Yes. Yeah, we can easily move on. Next on my list, and I think this guy's a lot higher on other people's list, but I recently just rewatched Dark Knight Rises. Christian Bale does nothing for me as Bruce Wayne or Batman.
He's 4th.
He's terrible.
I don't think he's terrible.
He growls and I'm not scared, and he limps around because he's injured. I don't buy it. So I had forgotten when Dark Knight, because I only watched Dark Knight Rises. I've only seen it like twice. I had forgotten that he was actually injured, and I thought he was acting to be injured on the cane. And in my mind, I'm like, he's doing a terrible job of acting about having a bum knee. And then it turns out, yeah, he has a bum knee, and he's all broken and old. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, he didn't even act that shit good for me. And I know he's a great actor, don't get me wrong. I don't give a shit about his Bruce Wayne or his Batman. I mean, I give him credit. He could turn his head.
I guess I disagree with you on most every point. He's definitely not terrible.
Did I say terrible?
Yes.
I mean, he's higher than 4 other people.
A bit hyperbolic.
So terrible. He's like he's like me. He's like a C student.
He's right in the middle.
Could have done better.
He's 4 out of my 8.
Yeah, I don't understand the universal praise for him in that role.
It's fine. It's fine. I think my problem, like Ben Affleck, as much as people really like the Nolan movies, I find them to be mostly boring Batman-wise. They're so realistic that I don't need any suspension of disbelief at all.
Oh, you don't want to watch Batman hack the network?
And it's...
Or Morgan Freeman, I should say.
It's almost too much. It's almost like reading about Batman in the newspaper watching the Nolan movies.
That's fair. I might have to turn this the rest of this over to you, because I've already given away my number one.
You have one left, yeah.
Well, we can't talk about Pattinson, who I think
Right.
might be...
He might be great.
I think after this movie, he might be my number one.
But he might be awful.
Yeah, so we can't talk about him. I already blew my wad on the Batfleck. And again,
And
maybe,
I've already mentioned him.
maybe my emotions are too close to this, right? Like I'm too close to Ben Affleck.
Oh, that's what I always say.
Yes. So I think my list is done because I have Pattinson, who hasn't aired yet, and Batfleck as my top two. Because I like the idea of them more than possibly what I've seen.
Yes, and I
think it's great casting. I think both of them is great casting.
I can totally empathize with that sort of thinking.
Can you sympathize with it?
I cannot.
Okay.
Or more, no, I can sympathize, but I can't empathize with it.
Can we rhythmize? Can we make a dance about it? Next week.
Yeah, we need some time.
As we leave the movie next week, we'll do a coordinated dance.
All right, so you want me to do the rest of mine?
Yeah, let's go through.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Kevin Conroy at 3.
So, yes, I wrote this down as you were in the room earlier today. I didn't do animated characters, but if you watch the CW shows, they had a Crisis crossover, and Kevin Conroy played the Kingdom Come version of Batman, and he was fucking stellar in the 7 minutes he was on screen. It was fascinating. It was so enjoyable to watch. Those shows, I understand people give them shit, and
that's an Easter egg.
They're kind of lame, but they're so good. Those CW crossovers, the YouTube crossovers the CW crossovers are fucking great. It is the Justice League movie I wanted to watch as a kid.
Right. If he's not my first Batman, I don't remember what I was exposed to first. If it was Batman '89. Or the animated series didn't come out till 91, 92?
92, but did you see the Batman in 89?
I saw 89 in theaters, so obviously it must have been that.
Right.
But for the largest chunk of my youth, Kevin Conroy was my Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that voice is iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's probably still that image of Batman, the Bruce Timm Batman, is still probably the thing that influences me the most when I go and put
definitely
pencil to paper.
Yeah. I mean, I started comics ripping off Mike Oeming, who rips off Bruce Timm, so for me, it's definitely that.
2, Michael Keaton. That's my 2. Yeah. And my 1 is one, obviously, that didn't even make your list.
This can't be possible. This is going to piss me off.
You're going to be mad. Is Lego Batman.
Fuck off.
Is my number 1.
Take your Will Arnett and shove it up your ass.
I have more fun.
Where's your Diedrich Bader
I have more
Batman?
fun watching Lego Batman than I do any of these other ones.
You are a simple man.
It's so good. And not only is it enjoyable and entertaining and funny, but it really understands the core of the character. You are missing out by not watching Lego Batman.
Can I ask a question?
I have the DVD in my car right now.
Sure you do. You also have young children.
Yes.
If you didn't have young children,
I don't think I've ever seen that movie, but I've heard that movie at least 20 times.
Okay, so it's just osmosis. You've absorbed it.
It's great.
You would have never seen this version had you not had kids.
No.
So it's
no.
You're
the one good thing that contributed to my life is Lego Batman.
You've been unduly influenced. Your brain is mush because of children.
Oh, no.
I get it. I'm not smart enough. That's what listeners are gonna say. Like Ryan doesn't get it because he's not smart enough. He doesn't get the nuances. Fuck that.
I wouldn't say that.
Fuck that.
No. No.
I don't give a fuck about those Lego movies, man.
Man, it's so good. You will enjoy all of the Easter eggs. There's so many Easter eggs.
That's what we talk about.
Easter eggs.
Shit we hate in The Mandalorian is Easter eggs. You are a fucking... you confuse the shit out of me. Not just sexually. I'm talking about... I'm talking about, like, just in normal life. Shit that you hate in a Star Wars live-action show, you love in a Lego animated show.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
Fucking ridiculous. I don't even know how to end this. All right, so let's rank our... we got, like, 2 minutes. So, we're Kevin Conroy,
Yeah.
Will Arnett.
Yep. No, Will Arnett.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
Oh, no, I was going voice animated.
Okay.
Animated. Like, where does this... not Tim Daly. Who the fuck did Batman? Oh, Jonathan Skaich? Someone else did Batman. Animated.
In what?
In one of the movies.
Oh.
Doesn't matter. Where does Brave and the Bold Diedrich Bader land on your...
I don't care. Whatever.
That's a good show.
Sure. I've never seen it.
Oh, my God. All right, fuck it. So your number one Batman is fucking Will Arnett.
Yes. I give me the Lord and Miller Batman.
Yeah. They did do a great animated movie. It was called Into the Spider-Verse.
Why won't you give this one a shot?
Because I don't give a fuck about Legos.
It doesn't matter that they're Legos.
It does.
It doesn't.
They're fucking little blocky, shitty things.
What if it was the same movie, but it was traditional animation?
I would love it.
What the
No.
fuck?
No. I'm sorry. I hate... Into the Spider-Verse wasn't joke. Those Lego movies are joke. They're like fucking... They're like what I hate about comic book movies.
Oh, man.
Everything's a fucking punchline, man. Where's the big action? And fuck you blow something up and it blows into little fucking pieces, like little fucking Lego pieces. That ain't real.
Man, you are depriving yourself.
You know what? Just for you, because of the love we share, maybe I'll get baked this weekend and watch a Lego Batman movie.
Do yourself a favor.
Okay. Because I can't watch it sober because that would be caving in to something. I got to do it on my own terms because I'm my own man. All right. So to wrap up, though, all of this is to say, I think the Matt Reeves, the Batman, has the potential to be on the level of not just a good Batman movie, but just a good movie, like a really good movie.
Yeah. Are there any other Batman movies that are just good movies that you wouldn't say, oh, that's a good Batman movie?
I think some of the Nolan stuff, you could easily rework those to be just action movies without Batman in it. So maybe I'm hoping this one is a good movie that is... So maybe the Nolan movies are good movies and Batman is secondary to it. They could be good movies if you just reworked it, right?
Sure.
Maybe the Batman... Maybe you have to have Batman in it to make it the good movie, and maybe I want both then.
Well, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Again, the car gives me a boner, and the brutality gives me a boner. And I realize that makes me a base, cis, white male. Is that how you pronounce it? Cis? Size? Cis. So I'm a cis white male. I get it. Give me a hot rod. Give me a dude dressed up as Batman punching the fuck out of people. I'm buying a ticket.
Yeah, I'm in. Everything I've seen, I agree with. So yeah, do it.
I'm looking forward to the scenes where it's just red and black. Like, give me a limited color palette. Yeah. Jesus Christ, make me think I'm watching Taxi Driver, but with Batman in it. Do it. I'm into it. Yeah, who knows? I mean, we talk big talks, but if we get together next Friday, we'll go watch it. If not, we'll watch it independently. But if you want to get together and watch it, and my wife's like, I want to watch it, I'll be like, I'll watch it with you later. Because my first wife, I knew Scott before I was married to you. That's it. That's the end of episode 238. It's funny. So there's been like 10 Batman movies, right? Wait.
A
4
lot.
plus 3.
A lot.
That's 7. About to be the 8th plus the Justice League
Carry the
movies.
1.
It's been at least 10 to 11 movies that feature Batman. That's nuts.
Well, I mean, he's Batman, you know?
Print money.
Right.
That's right.
I wonder where he is. Because isn't it that... I don't know if it's still true. Wasn't Superman the most recognizable brand
In the world.
after Coca-Cola?
Yeah. I think it's
Batman's got to be up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the S.
Right.
Right. So I think, yeah, Batman's got to be right behind it. I mean, I remember when Batman '89 came out, all of a sudden, fucking every store in the mall had a Batman logo T-shirt.
Yeah.
People were just wearing them.
Yeah, he's the American James Bond.
Well, there you go. I like to think James Bond is for the whole world, but
Maybe James Bond's like the British Batman. Batman did come first, yeah?
yeah, what, 1940 something?
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. Now I'm mumbling into the mic. Send us home,
America.
cut rate, Bruce Wayne. You look like a Bruce Wayne if he was a lumberjack.
Oh.
Like if he took the Dexter route.
It's an Elseworlds Batman.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done doing this. I'm gonna go work in a logging rig in Alaska.
Yeah.
You fit that. Or you've been in the pit for 5 months.
If a tree fell on his parents, and then he just fought trees for the rest of his life.
Yeah, it's like the opening to Bryan Singer's X-Men.
Yeah.
A tree took out the X-Men.
Yeah. Whatever. Bye.